Hi everybody. How you doing? Happy Friday. Let me just say before Nekia joins me here, we are both huge Sex and the City fans. We have both watched the first episode, and apologies for being a little bit late. That is my fault. There she is. Okay, Nekia. Let me add you. Nekia, I think you have to request. I don't know. It's not letting me add you for some reason. It's letting me wave at you. Let me see if I can add you here. Let me see. Okay, here we go. And just like that, that's supposed to happen on cue, Nekia. And just like that. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to talk about what's going on, girl. It's drama.
So many things to talk about. So many things to talk about. I know. Okay, so you and I have I was just saying before you joined, we were both huge Sex and the City fans. So this was a no-brainer for us to get together and talk about this. And yes, Black women can love Sex and the City back in the day, and we love what's happening with it now, so we can talk about it. So we're going to talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. Let's get into it, because I definitely was. Here's a really crazy thing. So sometimes, when there's nothing on TV and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling Sex and the City-ish today. Let me go ahead and turn on some reruns. So to be honest with you, I was a little apprehensive about, watching the reboot. Why? Because sometimes I feel like leave classics where they're at, type of thing. And they had 2 movies, so, but I'm glad I did. Thanks to you, Jacque.
I know. We both are. It's so funny. We talked before this live about an hour ago, and we were like, okay, how do we unpack this? Where do we begin? And we agreed that we got to start with the big moment. Episode 1. And listen, they're going to be spoilers, clearly, because we're going to talk about everything. So, get ready for the spoiler. And the biggest thing I'm still processing the fact that they killed off Mr. Big.
First of all, literally, Jacque, I looked at my TV for a good 5 minutes and I was like, okay, they're playing with me. Maybe this is a distant memory or a little scare.
Yeah.
My whole thing, I kept shouting at the TV was, girl, if you don't call 911.
Why did she not call 911? Because he was clearly still alive.
Yes.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? I was so mad at her. I'm like, girl, if you don't kick off them damn shoes and get to calling 911 emergency and get the ambulance and everybody over here and save your man.
Girl. I was like, you could have, he was still alive. That's the big takeaway for me. She let him die.
Listen.
She let him die. Come on, Carrie.
There was still time.
There was time.
John. We ain't singing a song. Get on the phone, ma'am. Get on the phone.
Girl, get on the phone. Call 911. Do some CPR. What's happening?
Yes.
Mouth to mouth. Pump the chest. What's happening?
I could not handle it. I said the way that they was putting my anxiety on 10, I'm like, because, I literally, just had a health scare as well. So I understand there's times we're apprehensive about going to, and that's Black folks, but Big has money, Carrie has money. There's no reason why y'all cannot afford $1,000 ambulance ride. Get to getting it.
Girl, plus anybody who lives in New York, and from seeing what we saw on the show, they have doormen, they have people. She can literally call downstairs and say, somebody come up, somebody call 911. She has help in a building like that. And
yes.
Penthouse.
Yes. There was so many options, Jacque.
She let him die.
There is no reason why that man should not be with us right now. What? And I was mad at the creators because I'm like, what are you thinking? I honestly felt like episode 1, like, why are you, now we're going to have this dark path that we're going down on. I felt like from there has been so much up and down with Carrie and Big's relationship that every time we kind of like, as a viewer, get a chance to get into it, now we're getting taken away, whether he cheated or he's leaving her or marriage is on the rocks.
Yeah.
And I felt like, why as a viewer couldn't we at least, I mean, if you want to do it episode 5, like episode 1, we're coming in the gate with this.
Right.
Why?
Right. I don't get it, because through the years of Sex in the City, to your point, I agree with you, we dealt with the up and down of that relationship, and the series ended with him saying he loved her, or them. We knew they were going to be together. And in the first movie, we see them together. The second movie, they're having some issues, but they're together. We waited too long, and we've been through too much as fans of this show to let this man who meant so much to her just die like that in the first episode. Like, why die? I just think it didn't make sense, as to your point, for the creatives to make that choice. I mean, was it so important for this reboot of Sex in the City to get back to all the ladies, or to have some sense of dating and being out there, out in the world, even at this stage in their lives? It just didn't make sense to me to do that to the fans of the show. I was in tears. Girl. I love them together. We saw their journey. Now they're finally together. It makes me so angry when writers feel like they have to do things like this in order to keep us guessing and to keep us pulled into a show. I mean, find another way.
Yes, because I was literally like, okay, where do we go from now? So what is the whole season going to be about mourning Big? I just felt like that coming in the gate put a damper of where, like, the show could be so great with them in their life, and we get to see and navigate them together. Yeah, we saw a little bit of that and how they joke, and you got a little bit of that, how their witty banter amongst each other, their relationship synergy. Yeah. But I still feel like it, from right off the gate, no. And I'm like, a heart attack on the damn Peloton bike.
I mean, let him go on a tour. Let them, I just didn't need, let him have business abroad or something. I just didn't need for that to happen. Somebody wrote in the comments here that they read, and I don't know if this is true, but this is what they're saying, that it was Chris Noth, the actor that plays Big, it was his choice to only have a moment, which I don't understand. I mean, he's on The Equalizer now with Queen Latifah, but it's not like he's on every episode. So I don't know what else he's doing, but he, I feel like he could have invested the time. So if that was his choice, they still could have handled it a different way. Give it to me later in the season, but like the first episode?
Right. Honestly, I really thought that possibly, when I was getting into, I noticed that, and I don't know if you noticed that pattern of them like introducing, all of our older favorite characters that we've gotten to know along the way through, Sex in the City. But I really honestly thought, I was like, okay, so they can really make this juicy. They can really show us a relationship woes, and yes, they've had theirs, but now this is a different dynamic. They're married, they're living together. Maybe we may see, Big cheating on her and how she deals with that, and then maybe drop a death bomb. But like, I just felt like it was too soon. It was
too soon, girl, out the gate. I mean, really. Okay, yes. So we said we're going to talk about Big, and then we were going to go into episode 1. So we're going to share with you guys like the just our thoughts, some of our takeaways from the first episode. We're going to do the second episode as well. Okay, so you want to start, Nekia?
Yeah, so I'll start from just the title of the show. I didn't really realize until watching it, it wasn't called like Sex and the City Reboot or Sex in the City, geriatric. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But I really did. I was like, and just like that, like, what is that? You know, I thought it was the name of the episode. So I was kind of taken aback by them changing the title and why they decided to do that, because the Sex and the City name and brand has such a it's huge. I mean, and it's the same creator. So I was a little confused, and it's still on HBO. It's not like it's at, you know, a new network. So I don't know if anybody knows why they decided to change the name, but I was
have
like,
a theory, but I don't know.
okay, what's your theory?
Okay, so my theory is
I'm listening.
that because their lives have evolved as characters, I feel like they wanted it to feel like a new chapter. And, you know, and just like that was something that Carrie's character said a lot as the narrator throughout the series. And just like that, boom, you know, and just like that. So if I had to guess, I do not know this for a fact, and I would love for somebody to correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like they wanted it to feel, listen, our kids are grown. Like that first scene, they all had glasses on, you know, as they're reading menus. You know what I mean? I feel like they wanted it to feel like an evolution from Sex in the City and what it was, you know, 4 girlfriends running around, you know, partying, going to the latest restaurant or club, dating, you know, us seeing their sex lives and all that kind of, I think they wanted it to feel different. That is my guess. I might be wrong.
Okay, I feel that. But I still am standing on, then change it to Sex in the City, you know, Evolution or something. You know, the Evolution chapter 2.0 or something like that. But I was just thrown off by that title. So that was my first initial thing. What about you?
Oh boy, there's so many things. I guess I'll get one thing. One of the biggest takeaways for me, which I appreciated, was that they are letting these characters get older. That we're not seeing these 3 friends, and we'll talk about Samantha in a minute. We're not seeing these 3 friends try to cling desperately to being, you know, being younger. You know what I mean? Now, you know, Miranda with the gray hair, which we know if you've watched, you know, snippets from future episodes, she is going to dye her hair red eventually, back red. And I love that evolution of her as a character, you know, just kind of saying, listen, I'm older now. We're older now. My hair is gray. It is what it is. I want to carry books. I don't want a Kindle. But I feel like there's this whole narrative about, you know, as we get older, kind of wanting to hang on to what's comfortable, but letting the world pass us by. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where that's going to go. And I love that, like I said, that they all had glasses on. I love that we get to see them as parents. I love that they're going to have this narrative and this conversation, which I think is so important, about getting older, particularly for women. I love that the hemlines are longer. You know what I mean? I love that they're still fashionable, but it's a different kind of fashion. And I love that. I love it so much. And I'm glad, because there were a lot of critics, and you know this, outside of this, who were like, oh, they look old, when we had snippets from them shooting scenes. And, you know, people get older. You know what I mean? Men and women get older, and it's like society that makes people feel self-conscious about it. Let women age. You know, let these characters age. And you know, it will happen. It is happening for all of us. Let's normalize that. Let's not have this expectation that everybody, you know, has to look like J-Lo, you know, or Halle Berry in their 50s.
Because everybody's not going to.
You know, God please. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, let people age. So that was my takeaway. I love that they got right to it right at the beginning. They all had glasses on. You know what I mean? Miranda's, you know, to me, I can't wait to see how that transitions with her, how she, you know, deals with getting older, but not letting life pass her by.
Yeah. And touching on the age thing, I definitely feel like there is ageism on these shows when it comes to women. Like, men can age and be still acting and doing kung fu. And you're like, come on, sir, you're 80 in a wheelchair. I need you to stop, you know, for health reasons. But when it comes to women, once, you know, I'd say nowadays 30 is old. And I'm like, oh, Lord.
It's not.
No, and I'm like, it's not. But the perception that women have to snatch back, and I mean, can't have any weight. I know I've heard a lot of people kind of touch on Charlotte. I be forgetting sometimes their real names, but Charlotte, with her having fillers, it was very noticeable though. Yeah. I mean, would you agree? Or
no, it was noticeable, but my thing about anybody having work done, it's their choice. Do you? If that, listen, girl, I ain't but a doctor's appointment away from it. I'm not there. I haven't done it yet, but there might come a time where I'm like, you know what, I might give that a try.
And let you say something. Talk about your mama. Don't talk about me.
You know what I mean? Let people do them. Let people do. You know what I mean? Let them do them. Absolutely. Yeah. So I definitely did notice that. As long as people don't go too far, like that woman they call the cat lady, who just has so much, and I'm not going to talk about any celebrities who have gone too far because we know them. Yeah. We know who they are. I feel like you can go too far, but it's okay. It's your choice.
It's okay. I just I didn't know if that was kind of the thing, symbolism of, because did you notice how Carrie snapped back and she was like, you're still trying to hide your grays, boo, Charlotte. Don't come for me if I ask for you. So I didn't know if her having the fillers was part of the role,
I don't think so. No, I don't think so, because I feel like they would have talked about it, and I wish that they had. I wish that they would put it in the storyline, and maybe down the road they will, because let's normalize it. Mm-hmm. Let's not try to pretend like that's not happening. You know what I mean? But can we talk about Miranda and Steve letting their son have?
Wait a minute, that's episode. That's episode 2.
Oh, okay, that's episode two.
Before we get into that.
Well, episode 1, she talked about finding the condom on the floor. But okay,
I know.
We'll come back.
I'm going off on Brady, girl, on this live. He's going to hear it from me. I need to get out my belt while I'm doing it. But we will talk about that. I
don't know what they are thinking, but okay. We can revisit that in episode 2. But I just want to say, because one of my line sisters jumped on here and then commented, "Oh, spoilers, I'm out." Y'all, we talking about the 2 episodes. They're going to be spoilers. Enough.
Yes, we okay. Maybe
we are going to talk about episode 2, but okay, let me go back to episode 1. Okay. How uncomfortable is it? I'm just gonna stay on Miranda, with Miranda in this class with this professor and this whole, I don't know how to handle, talking about race, and I'm trying to be an ally. Like, she fumbled that to perfection because it was so cringeworthy and so uncomfortable. I said, that's some great acting. But what I love about that, and let me look up her name, the professor,
it is
played by Karen Pittman.
Pittman. Yes.
I love this actress. Anyway,
yes, me too.
She's on the morning show on Apple. Yes. But I love her in everything. But I love particularly in this that somebody said woke Miranda. I love that in this first episode that we see her not going overboard to make Miranda comfortable. She is very, like that whole subway. She is very comfortable in her skin, and she's gonna let Miranda fumble it until she figures it out, because it's not on her to help her figure it out or apologize to her or make her comfortable. And
Can I talk about that? Can I interject on that? That's so interesting that you say that, because as a viewer and a Black woman, and I'm hearing or seeing this play out and what Miranda is saying, I'm trying to help her not fumble it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's just because, I'm attached to the character or what, but that does happen as a Black woman. We try to be like, oh no, that's okay, or make you feel comfortable. And when Karen Pittman, the professor, was doing that, I'm like, damn, she ain't giving her no leeway, like not zero. And so like you said, to be comfortable in that space and to sometimes let the silence do the talking. I know I can do that, but just in those moments where there is an exuberant amount of awkwardness, and you're like, okay, you right there, but you know what I mean? Like, you're right
Yeah.
there, and she didn't care. The professor didn't care about, you know, making her comfortable, or politics or corporate. You know, she's a professor. I'm doing, and yes, these are my braids, and what? Yeah. And maybe tomorrow I'll wear a pixie wig. Now, come for me, you know. So I love that about that character, and I was like, yes, Karen Pittman. I'm glad they put her in there. Her essence, something about her. I love her. I love her.
I love everything about her.
Yes, she is everything to me. And like, I watch the morning show too. So yeah, I was so expecting it not to be Miranda going through this type of, like, I was expecting Charlotte to maybe be,
or even Carrie, because Miranda has seemed so evolved in the series, and you know what I mean? But that goes to, but I'm glad it was Miranda, because I think that, you know, during the pandemic, after George Floyd's death, and, you know, how race became such a conversation, and white people were confronting, you know, where they were, where they stood, because a lot of liberal white people feel like, well, I'm not racist. You know what I mean? I don't practice microaggressions, or I don't do that. But I think that when you're white, you know what I mean? You're still in a bubble. Mm-hmm. You're still in a bubble from what is really going on with Black people in this country, unless you really dig into it. And Miranda has not done that, right? Right. She hasn't done that. You know, where are her Black friends? Where, you know, like real Black friends? And maybe this professor, from what I'm feeling, like this will be a genuine friendship that will develop. And I like the way that it's developing, you know, because a lot of times it is us that tries to make white women in friendships feel more comfortable. We're apologetic when they say things or do things. You know what I mean? You know, it's like now you can say to somebody, don't touch my hair. But how many Black women out there have actually let white people touch their hair at some point in their life and felt some kind of way, but didn't say anything? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So but it's a real conversation, because I think for white people too, they're trying to figure it out. So I think it gives us an idea of what they're going through, those who genuinely want to evolve and make things better, like what they experience. So through Miranda, we get to see how uncomfortable it can be. And this one of the commenters here, Miss Tasha, if I'm seeing that correctly, I'm trying to go through the comments, but I don't think I can. But she said, do we think that this storyline is too woke? No, or too forced. Forced. No, I don't. And the reason why I'm going to say this, and I can see why she's thinking that, is because back when Sex and the City came on and had its whole run, it never really delved into an inclusive New York. It was only giving from a lens standpoint of what white women in high society is going through, or how they're navigating spaces, or, you know, in the world. Yeah. I mean, it's not always, you know what I'm saying? So I do like the fact that it's reflective of what's going on today. Let's be real, because I'm not really in the mindset to, I mean, yes, it's great and fabulous to see Carrie's fashion, to see them hobnobbing and going fancy places, but like, yeah, how are you navigating New York and being a mother, being a wife, being, you know, like, and especially during the pandemic, which I will say I wish they would have really, I mean, I saw them touch on it really quickly, but I wish they really would have incorporated that a little more as well. But let's just focus on what Sex and the City is, and for what it is. I will say, I think that they did a good job, and it wasn't forced. And I think that it needed to happen, because all these years it's just been about, you know what I mean? So let's try something new. Let's evolve. And I'm excited that remember Blair Underwood was a part of the series. He dated,
Yes.
his character dated Miranda. And there was an episode, I think, with Samantha had a relationship, with a black guy. I think that happened like once. But we didn't get to see Blair Underwood's character outside of his relationship with Miranda. We never saw more. And with these characters, with Karen Pittman's character, with Nicole Ari Parker's character, we get to see how these women's lives, we know that there'll be more depth. Their existence won't just, they won't just exist in a relationship with one of the main characters. They will exist on their own outside of that. And I'm excited about that.
Yes,
I'm really
absolutely.
excited about that.
Now,
Can we talk about Nicole Ari Parker?
Wait, can we back up? We have not talked about Samantha.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about Samantha. Okay,
so
you're right.
So
how do you feel about how it was handled? I know, because let me just let y'all know, this one here, Nekia almost did not watch this series because Samantha was not going to be a part of it. I was bothered by it, but based on what was in the media about it, I had come to peace with it. She is missed for me, but I'm not mad at how they handled it. But okay, go. What do you think?
So I feel as though, girl, because
you got so many feelings about this.
Listen. So yes, I felt like Samantha did add that additional edge that the ladies needed, and her character not being there, I was like, how is it going to work as a treat, or whatever, three people and not the fourth? I mean, I don't know. I just have really, really, really like Samantha. But I will say what I did notice, and this helped me, is at the moment where Miranda and Carrie were talking about her and saying, did you reach out and what happened? Yeah. And just kind of like, I appreciated that conversation. I kind of feel like that was also like like them talking to Kim Cattrall, not Samantha, but Kim Cattrall. I don't know if you felt that.
I felt that. I feel like they handled it so gently that the actress Kim Cattrall, who I believe will watch, I feel like it may soften her, and I feel like, I know it's a stretch, that there's a possibility that she could pop up. I know it's a stretch, but I know, but I feel like, because it just, I feel like when they were talking about it, they were talking about what happened in real life.
That part, yes.
It felt like they were really talking about things that were possibly said or feelings that existed in real life between those actresses, right?
And I didn't know if I was just putting my own thoughts and emotions in it, but I felt it. I'm like, oh, they talking to her. They talking to her through the TV. Yeah. Like, this is now off script to me. Like, I mean, yes, they're on script, but I feel like it definitely had to do with, the reality of what went on with, all four of them. Yeah. And I was like, okay, because we don't know as the viewer what goes on behind the scenes, but I do know Kim Cattrall was like, I don't want no parts of this, and I was kind of like, okay, was it a mean girl situation? Did they gang up on her? I did feel for her. So I was happy that they did address it like that. I do hope that that's not the only time, the one and done, and because she was an integral part of their friendship. So let's not just make it a one episode, and then add something to it. So
yeah. I mean, and people are in the comments are saying Kim Cattrall said she's done. KC said she's done. Listen, things happen, feelings evolve. Maybe I say that there is a window, and I feel like I think they've handled it so tastefully that Kim Cattrall can't be mad.
No.
And it may soften her heart. Maybe things, I don't know. Maybe.
But I'm hopeful and optimistic too. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, nah, she done. She like, stick a fork in me, I'm done. Like, for real. Like, yeah. Like,
did you feel like it was lacking though because she wasn't there?
I feel like they made up for it in other areas. But yeah, she had like this witty banter. I love the fact that she was very uninhibited. It's like, this is what it is. Get used to it or kick rocks. Yeah, and she stood firm in who she was. She never, and I love that about her character. But the podcaster, I feel like she,
Oh, Ramirez. What's her name?
yes,
Sarah Ramirez is her name. She used to be on Grey's Anatomy, girl.
Yes. So I feel
and
like
so many other things, but that's when I first remember seeing her. She's big on Broadway and so many other things. I don't mean to just say she was on Grey's Anatomy, but it's been a while since she's been on that. But anyway, I love her.
Yeah, so I feel like with her being very, you know, as far as sexuality, very strong in it, very like like she makes up for that of what I like, you know, that little like, what? No, you know, and just very strong. So I love that about that character. And then I also think, like you said, they brought in Nicole Pittman, Nicole Ari Parker.
Fabulous.
When I tell you I absolutely love her.
I love her. I love everything about her. I have to visit her social media at least once a day. I just love her. I love her kids. Of course, I love her husband. I just love them. I just love everything about her, you know, and she shows up often. I don't know if she will anymore on our show, Chicago PD.
Yes. So let me tell you, girl, years ago, I got to interview her. And when I tell you, she is the most amazing person, like in real life, in real form, like just nice and sweet and just beautiful. Like, and it seems like she gets beautiful as she ages. Oh my God, I love that woman. Oh, she is
girl.
So
let
amazing.
let me take you way back to my very first Nicole Ari Parker moment when I had a cameo on Soul Food, the series.
You was on Soul Food, the series?
Girl, the last episode I was on there with, and I had a scene with her and Boris Kojo and Mario Van Peebles, girl.
What was you doing?
Girl, playing a reporter. And I interrupted, girl, listen, I interrupted a conversation between her and Mario Van Peebles. Girl, oh my God. Let me just say it does exist, and I am not in any way ever going to try to act in my life because it's not for me.
Listen, I'm gonna go find it. I'm going through the archives today.
Girl, go find it. Because it's like, dust it off, girl. This will be the last time
I love it.
Ever do any acting. But yeah, she's slayed. I love her character. I love her energy. It was just so effortless. It just didn't feel forced. I love that she and Charlotte have a friendship and they have so many similarities.
I was shocked,
and
honestly.
That we see a Black woman in New York on her level, right?
Yes.
Existing. I love it. I
was
so
shocked
much.
that Charlotte, you know, because Charlotte just seems so stick in the mud to me. But I was shocked that they paired them together. I would have thought.
Well, because she's in that world. Their kids go to the same school. They're in the same social networks, and Black people in New York exist on various levels, right? Mm-hmm. And so I love that. I love
your phone.
Sorry about
must
that.
be ringing
I love
over
that
there
so much.
Yeah.
No, it is. I'm sorry. Someone's trying to call me. But I hopefully they will not call me back because we're doing it live right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to move on to episode 2. Last thoughts on episode 1 before we move on. You got anything quick in episode 1 you want to get to?
Let's see.
I know I had to take notes. I had to write down notes.
I did write down notes. Girl, I don't play around. So no, we touched on, you know, how progressive it has come, and you know, because the old episodes did have some cringy moments, so when it came to like race and stuff, but I think we touched on that really good, so I'm ready to delve into episode 2.
Somebody said they don't believe for a moment that she would take a french fry off of Carrie's plate.
Not during COVID. What are you doing? Kovisha is still out here doing her damn thing. What?
I love the energy behind it, but yes, it seemed very unrealistic to take a french fry off a stranger's plate. Yeah, yes. I mean, why? Because
during
they did acknowledge that COVID
y'all
existed.
Just talked about that 2 seconds ago. You know, and then now you're asking for a damn fry, girl. Bye. Do not touch my food.
Yeah, that was a little bit too much. I get she fits in with the group and everything, but that was too far. That was too
Yeah,
far.
I mean, I understand you trying to make a first impression, but girl, that's too far. Get your
Too
mask
far.
on and don't ask for nobody's food. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to episode 2. What are your thoughts? You know what? I got to start with this for episode 2. Girl, Miranda got a drinking problem. They get ready to talk about that. Miranda got a drinking problem. And I'm not celebrating it, but I'm like, girl,
No,
she has a drinking problem.
I am so happy you mentioned that, because I was like, I wonder if Jackie is going to, say the same thing that I like, because I literally have it right here in my notes, and I'm like, I'm noticing a drinking problem with Miranda, and I'm trying to not hoping that it's not going down that path. But ma'am, 10:30 a.m. and you're at a bar, we got to talk.
No, at a bar to get a drink before you're going to class.
What, like, listen, I understand nerves. Do what you got to do, smoke a little weed, whatever, right?
But I'm like,
listen,
and I'm not mad at a brunch cocktail on a Sunday, right, early in the morning, or if you're on vacation. But a weekday, you're going to class.
And getting a little too, like, I'll wait. Like, girl, no,
Right.
go to Starbucks and call it one. I mean, really? We're doing this early? Not only that, then at the funeral, she's drinking. And that gets...
And demanding a drink at the funeral. Rude with it.
And when you're getting a little violent for your alcohol, then that's when we know we have a problem. And let's unpack that. Starting with AA. So yeah, I had noticed that, and I'm like, ooh, this can go real. Because not only did she do that at the recital, she was drinking some wine. I understand you know, again,
girl,
she had
some brown liquor at the recital. Yes, she brought her own. Girl, I forgot about that. Yes. She had brown liquor at the funeral. I mean, she kept drinking. Drinking. So we know that's coming. That's foreshadowing. That is definitely happening.
Absolutely. Now, let me get my belt. Where my belt at? Because
we already talked about Brady.
Let me tell you
something. Listen, let me get my belt.
What? As Oprah said. What? Like, black folks say that. And never have I ever heard of having, like, come on, having sex at your parents' house. And I'm not talking about secret squirrel sex, like just put it in and
right.
We're talking about banging on the walls
and riding cowboy, girl, riding cow. I was like, what?
Like, what? Like, who? What? These writers, is this what they do?
I don't know whose household this experience exists in, but what is happening? I mean, your mom is stepping on your used condoms. Like, you're that cool with it that you're just like, oh, just tossing it on the floor.
Okay, and so let's talk about that. So and maybe I missed it. So when she initially said it in the first episode, like, I'm stepping on Brady's condoms, I laughed. I'm like, I'm like, okay, Brady's maybe 20, in college and doing. But then later on, I learned that Brady is 17. Bro, we have a problem. You are not going to be up at my house. I'm feeling like I need to parent Brady right now.
Yeah.
I was like, he is so disrespectful. This is not working for me. Is this what happens? Because let me be doing that. Listen, I've let my mom stay with me, and I wouldn't be banging on the. You understand what I'm saying?
Who does that?
A 17-year-old, get the belt, get the strap, or you get out. Like, or when I say get out, I'm sending you to some kind of boot camp school or something where you can't
get down the law. You're not doing this. Like, they gave him permission to do it, the mother and the father.
Yes.
We're not doing that.
No, we are not.
If you're going to live here, somebody said on my taxes, if you're going to live here, then this is what is going to happen. You can have sex and we can have the talk about responsibly being out there, but figure it out there. It's not happening in this house.
I mean, but to the point of, come on now. Douche.
The wall banging. Somebody said, and where the girls' parents at? I don't know, but I know they're not doing it at her house.
I mean, he really thought he was Trey Songz, talking about the neighbors gonna hear you and all that. You are not Trey Songz, sir. If you don't get to bed and do some studying, I'm done. I'm over it. I was so happy. I don't know if it was the alcohol talking that got Miranda, but she was like, when Brady got mouthy,
smoking the weed.
And she said, say what now? I said, go. Now that's the Miranda I know.
But why is that same Miranda not showing up when it comes to household rules? Like, why? I need that explanation. We need to delve into that a little bit more. Why are we giving that energy, at the funeral when she catches him smoking weed and then going in on that lady? But then also, she's not really blaming him. She puts most of her anger and energy goes into, the pod Gary's boss.
Right. Absolutely. And I feel like
and it belongs on her son.
When she was doing that and going off like that, I'm like, girl, it's just weed. Like, relax. But at the same token, I felt like it was misdirected anger, like you said. And because she couldn't really go off on her son like she really wants to, she took it out on the podcaster. And I was just like, and like I said, I like the way she handled that, because not Miranda, but the podcaster, because I mean, that could have went ugly real fast.
Girl, I would have been, but I love that she had the wherewithal to say, okay, this is someone's son. I didn't know he was a minor. I love that she had that, you know what I mean, to hold herself back. And then beyond that, to not be mad at Miranda once they were formally introduced later, but to say, let's start again, girl. Maturity. I love it.
Yes.
Maturity, girl.
We gotta give a hand.
I love it.
Yes.
Let us all learn. We don't have to stay mad. You know what I mean? Let's take ownership of what we do in situations. The podcast boss was mad. She was wrong.
Right.
She was wrong to do what she did, and she owned that, and now they can move forward. They kikiing and all that. Girl, I would have been mad for days.
And with the kiki, let me know what you think, because I was like, is there
go ahead. I know what you're gonna say. Go on.
Because
they
might be
like, listen,
you already know.
Well, because Cynthia Nixon, the character that plays Miranda in real life, is a lesbian.
Right.
Yeah, she's a lesbian. So there's been talk online. I don't think that there's been anything confirmed from anyone that's a part of the show, but the people have been wondering from that scene in the second episode. They're like, I wonder if we'll see Miranda, her, whether they'll experiment with her sexuality in some kind.
Yes, I feel like so.
I feel like that's possible, but I feel like it has to be done just right. I mean, I feel like we've had years of this relationship with Steve, them breaking up, getting back together. They have a child together. We've had all that. And it doesn't mean that there's something that can't happen, but my heart is, I love Steve. And I love Steve's love for Miranda. And I feel like somebody said not breaking Steve's heart. I feel like we already lost big. Can the other relationships just survive?
Yeah.
Can they survive?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like we don't. Because if they do it, and if they don't do it right, it'll feel forced.
Right.
It'll feel forced.
Right.
And I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that happen. And I'm worried that if they do go in that direction, that it won't be handled well.
Yeah, it's a fine line there. I did see the chemistry, but exactly, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Steve, I love his character, and actually I've interviewed him several times for the Chicago show.
From Chicago Fire.
And I just love him as a person as well. So he's a really nice guy. But I was wondering how they're going to, because they threw so much at us on episode 1, you never know where it's going now. And I don't know if they did that intentionally. I'm thinking so, because it could go over here or it could go over here. And, we as the viewer just got to go along with the ride. So we'll see how that develops. I'm very interested to see how that develops. Not only that, I wanted to mention to you, when Big died, and he died on the Peloton bike. I sent you the article last night about Peloton kind of came and was like, Big, that happened to Big because of his lifestyle. So do you agree that the reason why he had a heart attack was because of him on the bike or because of his lifestyle?
Well, I mean, I could see, it's funny that Peloton put out a statement on this because, I mean, we knew that from the series, he had heart issues, right? He had surgery on his heart during the series. But Miranda and Steve had that conversation about him getting the okay from his doctor. But we saw him smoking a cigar right before, which is so unhealthy. I mean, can we stop pretending that smoking cigars is just so cool? I mean, it is so similar to smoking cigarettes. It is not good for you. Right. I can't with people trying to act like, you know, it's just such a cool and sophisticated thing and disassociating it from cigarettes. Mm-hmm. It's just as dangerous. So, you know, I was glad this was his 1,000th ride. So, I mean, I think it's like, even though it wasn't like they were frying up, you know,
bacon every night
and French fries every night. They were making something light. You know what I mean? It just I don't know. I think it's a stretch to say it was his lifestyle because we don't know enough about his lifestyle in this moment. And if he had been riding and was able to ride to keep up on his 1,000th ride, then that means that, you know, he had been working out. But what's the dude that worked with Oprah? Bob Green? Remember the fitness guy who had a heart attack?
Yeah.
I want to say it was Bob Green, but I may have his name wrong. You guys remind me if anybody remembers. But he wrote a whole book about it. He was a fitness expert who had a heart condition. Sometimes, you know, things happen with people with their bodies that have little to do or is not directly connected to their lifestyle in every situation.
Absolutely.
But I feel like Peloton felt like, you know, why he got to have a Peloton bike? So they had to say something. I thought it was interesting, but I don't think we know enough about his present lifestyle at that moment to say that it was his lifestyle.
But I heard that their stock dropped from that.
Really?
That's what I heard.
I can't believe that show has that much impact.
That is, but that's
what
I heard.
Come on. That's ridiculous.
Hey, I'm just putting the information out there.
Can we talk about one of my favorite moments from the second episode?
Sure.
And that's when Karen Pittman's character, Dr. Wallace, when Samantha, I think this was this might have been the first episode. You tell them, keep calling me. When Miranda was acting all awkward, and then Miranda got on the train to keep talking, and Karen dipped out and didn't get on the train.
She is bogus as hell. She gets no fucks.
Girl, I love the honesty in that moment.
Yeah.
Somebody said it's true. They said TMZ is reporting. I think what you said about the stocks, and you know, girl, at this point, if TMZ says it is true. But girl, when she dipped out and let her get on that train without her, knowing that she is going to see her again in class, she was like, zero fucks. You're not getting ready. I don't want your energy today. I'm not getting on the train to continue this conversation. It is over. Girl, she dipped. I hollered.
I said, you know what? I said, I got to do that. What the hell did
It's
she
like,
said, go ahead in, and then whoop. I said, I'm going to use that one.
Because we entertain, listen, there is something to being nice. And I think we should be nice, but not at the expense of our own sanity and comfort. There are times when conversations need to end, and we don't need to entertain people and their efforts to try to fill silence and fill space and be overly friendly when you're not, you know, you're not receiving that.
Here's the deal.
I don't know you like that.
I tell people, or I say it all the time, silence is an art form. Like that. Because and I love, there's sometimes I will sit in this house in dead silence and be content. There are just some people that don't know how to do that. It really is an art form to shut up, you know, shut up, you know. because it's also, it can be intrusive. Some people are introverts. Some people, you may not be in the headspace for all of that to entertain you. Not today.
Not
you
today.
know, not today. And I just love the fact that she was like, definitely not today, you know? So that character is awesome. I hope they keep her for a very long time, because she is, I was like, yes, girl.
Yes. It's like, read the room. Read somebody's energy. Read the room. Oh my God. That was like a moment for me. She dipped like now, unapologetically.
One of your viewers brought up a good point, and I've noticed that too, and I didn't write that down. I forgot to. They asked do we think that Miranda's daughter is going to be transgender? I absolutely think yes.
I don't know.
Or just
I didn't see trans in that, because a lot of times with trans children, young people, it starts very early. Like very, very, like 4 or 5 years old. And I feel like if that was happening with their daughter, that we would have seen it. I mean, I feel like she's just a free spirit. I feel like she's a free spirit. And I don't know what that means for who will see her become as, you know, sexually, but I feel like I think it is more for me, non-conforming. Yes, maybe non-conforming. But I feel like more than anything, Charlotte is a girly girl, right?
Yeah.
Charlotte is, and I think that she is the opposite of that. I think Lily, her other daughter, is a girly girl too.
Yeah.
But I feel like Rose, I think that's her name.
Yes,
I feel like Rose is going to be kind of like more of a free spirit. She's going to be very different from Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that has nothing to do with her gender. I just think that that's, you know what I mean? And I think that will be Charlotte's challenge, you know, that relationship with that daughter who doesn't want to wear the girly dresses like she does, but wants to kind of march to the beat of her own drum. Because she had a moment with Carrie at the recital, and she just kind of put her own spin on things. The hat, the sneaks, the t-shirt, you know, she just, you know, we'll see.
And then Carrie embraced it. And so you see how relaxed she became, and she was just so happy that, you know, her mom was pissed of what she was wearing, but Carrie, but you know, what is his, what's Charlotte's friend, dark hair, I can't remember.
I want to call him,
come on.
I know his name is Mario Cantone, but is it Anthony on the show?
I think, yes, Anthony. He also co-signs with Charlotte because he was upset of what Rose was wearing, and I'm thinking, what's that got to do with you?
But they're from the same cloth. Did you hear him call Nicole Ari Parker Black Charlotte?
Oh, and he pissed me off with that. When usually I'm with him on stuff because he's funny, but I was like, you will not go there. No, you will not do that today, sir.
Girl, so yeah, he made me so mad because I felt like and I know Mario, and so that's so like, I mean, I know, and the character Anthony is nothing like Mario, but I love them both. But I felt like when he called her the Black Charlotte, I laughed because I think it was a nod to the fact that, again, this is that their soul. He said he meant it as shade.
He did mean it as shade.
I think he meant it as shade, but I thought it was funny. I wasn't insulted by it. Let me put it that. It didn't piss me off. Somebody said that pissed them off too. It didn't piss me off, but that's just because I felt like I get what he was saying. He was saying that those two are just alike. And you know good and well, if you met a white girl that reminded you of me and was that, you'd be like, girl, that's the white Jackie. You would say it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
I would, but there's no one like Jackie. I love you, Jackie. I do. There's no one like her. But no, because I was like, oh, is that an undercut? What are you doing, sir? We will not do that at the recital.
I love that. You know, though, speaking of Anthony, you know, the character who plays his husband, you know, he unfortunately died in real life. And so it'll be interesting to see how they handle his death in the coming episodes, because I don't know how many episodes, you know, he was a part of before his untimely and just tragic death. But it's like, I can't take another death.
There go your phone again, girl. We're going to have to put you on airplane mode.
charge my phone. But I hope. How rude is Stanford right now? How rude is he at the funeral, making his secretary get up, make big secretary get up out the seat, talking about Carrie having a fashion moment, and like he is just like so, and being mad that Miranda spoke and he didn't get to speak. What's going on?
Well, you know what? I was looking at Twitter because I'm
talking
so
while I adjust. I
to
gotta
Twitter.
plug in my thing.
Okay.
Don't, my phone's gonna
I
move,
was
y'all.
looking at Twitter, and I don't know if my another colleague, his name is Ty Cole, and he said that he was not feeling Stanford this too much. He was like, I'm not, I guess maybe in the previous ones he liked Stanford's character, and he was like, this time around Stanford is not doing it for me. So I feel like a lot of people, I don't know what's up with him. What is it? Is it his relationship woes that he's having with his husband?
I don't know.
That is making him do that. But because he was always the cutesy little supportive one.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden I'm like, what is this change in his personality?
He's so annoying. He's so annoying. He annoyed. I mean, he annoyed me so much. And I love, but he is superficial. I mean, look what he said when the neighbor with the hoodie. You know what I mean? And that was funny. But he's just annoying. But maybe that's just who he is. And I think that
but
there
I
are
didn't
people
realize
like that who exist.
That before. I thought he was just good old Stanny, like, and when I would watch the other, the Sex and the City, I felt like, oh, Stanford is great for Carrie, because those times when the girls are not, really doing it for her where she needs that support, he comes in and he does the role. But you said there was some things he would say, and I'm like, shut up right now with that. Like, what?
What's happening?
I didn't understand. Like, and so there was a while or a couple of times where I just kind of like blocked him out and what he was saying or what commentary he had about whatever situation that they were in. And I was just like, let's get down to the meat and potatoes here, because I don't know what he's talking about.
Girl, it was annoying.
Read the damn room.
Girl, read the room. Okay, we have gone over an hour.
Okay.
But we did start a tad late, so maybe we're right at an hour. But any final thoughts before we wrap things up? And we'll be back, you guys, next Friday at noon Central. Because you're on Central Time, I'm on Eastern Time, 1:00 Eastern. We'll be back after the episodes air on Thursdays on HBO Max, and so we figure we give y'all a little chance to watch it. And then we'll talk with all the spoilers on Friday.
Yes. So my final thoughts is I'm hoping that episode 3, that I don't want to say is there some way that we can move, because Big was such a big instrumental part of the ladies in the show. But I'm hoping that I don't want to spend the whole season being sad and crying. I don't want to. This is us, Sex and the City style. Please don't do it to me. I don't want that kind of emotion. So I'm just interested to see what emotional ride they're going to take us on, and how we're going to get over this hump, because it affects us as the viewer so much with this. So I am very interested in seeing that. Any final thoughts on your end?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I am upset about Big and dying, I don't feel like they had to do it this way, but I'm glad, as someone who is not married, that we will see a character who is widowed, therefore not married. That's one of the main 3. I didn't want it to happen this way. I wish we could have seen someone dating at this stage in their life because of something different, not Big's death. But I think that's something that I'll be happy to see as part of the storyline. So I am happy about that. We'll get to see Carrie dating at some point, because we have heard about her kissing other men and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely. Well, this has been fun, Jackie.
Honestly. I
love it.
love this. I'm so glad we did this.
And thank you guys for sticking in and watching this whole hour. Thank you. I love that you guys are loving us. I'm so excited to continue to do this every week. And so I hope you guys continue to join.
Yeah, somebody said it was like therapy. This was like therapy for me because, you know, we have been talking about it, but I'm going to wait and we can't talk next time, Nekia, until this moment.
Okay.
Like, I love this so much because I love just everything about Sex in the City. I'm glad this reboot is here. And yes, Black women can love it too. And now we have even more reasons to love it. So thank you guys for joining us for this. And we'll see you next week.
Yay! All right. Thanks, Jackie.
Bye, girl.
Bye.